Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mayor's Corner. We have our special guest with us, that is our Fire Chief and EMC Coordinator, Mr. Patrick Thomas. Welcome, Mr. Patrick Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you and to inform our citizens about our emergency management department. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and some of the weather events that have occurred. Before we go into our Mayor's Corner, I would like to extend our condolences on behalf of our city employees, staff, administration, and city council members for the passing of a past police chief, which is Mr. Rex Ramon. So our condolences to the family and friends. We're going to miss him, and it's... what can I say? We loved him, and we're going to miss him.
Very well respected and individual, citizen. He was a father, a grandfather.
He loved his family.
He
That's
did.
one thing.
He
loved his job, but he also loved his
He did. I was
family.
blessed to be able to work with him. When I first started here back in 2001, he was already working here, and I rose up the ranks as he rose up the ranks, and worked alongside him many times, doing many investigations and helping him with his job. He helped me with mine as a fire marshal when I needed to do the law enforcement side of that job. He was always there to help me and serve as a mentor for me. So it was very unfortunate that he's no longer with us, but he's in a better place. And
He's watching us.
He's
though.
watching over us, and we do want to
Yes.
extend our condolences to him and his family.
Yes.
And
Like-
very good
Yeah.
friends.
I'd like to just a moment of silence in his memory and his honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, our condolences, and we'll miss you, Mr. Rex Ramon, for all your contributions and all the lives you touched throughout your career and with your family and friends. Thank you. I have, again, our special guest that always is so kind to be here, that wears many, many hats. He's our fire chief, Mr. Patrick Thomas, but he also wears our emergency management coordinator hat. And he's going to brief us a little bit on some of the weather and the events and some of the things that we have, resources we have.
Yes, Mayor, thank you for having me again. I enjoy coming on here and talking with you and sharing information with the community, and it's really important. I did want to talk a little bit about the weather. We finally got some rain, and so it's a good thing. Good thing that we got some rain. It wasn't too much rain that it caused any major inconveniences for us, and so that's always something with the weather, right? You want the rain, you need the rain, but you don't want it to cause problems for you and have your flooding issues. So we were fortunate enough that we fared well with the rain. We got a couple inches of rain, and depending on where you were at in the city or in the county, we did get some significant amount of rain. We do need more, but we need to let this kind of soak in for a little bit, and then we can have some more, right? Yes, but I do want to bring up, if you did see the news, there's the valley, the Rio Grande Valley, Edinburgh, McAllen, Mission, all that area, all the way up to Cameron County in Brownsville. They took a lot of rain. They got and
you happened to be down there.
I did. I happened to be down there with some meetings with the emergency management coordinators down there, and I was in the middle of it all. But luckily I made it home. Or I left a little earlier, so I would try to beat the flooding. But
we had done some preparation too, so thank you so much, because you went through all our functions, and with staff and administration, county, we were all on all in communication.
That's correct, Mayor. What we do is anytime there's going to be a disaster or we're preparing for a potential disaster, it doesn't even have to be a disaster that actually is happening.
An event.
An event. We always, on the city side, we call it Emergency Operations Center. What we do is we have what we call functions. And every part of a disaster is divided into functions. And so we want to make sure that it's done like that on the national level, the state level, and then here locally on the local level. And so what I do do is I make sure that our functions align with everybody else's functions on the state and the federal level. And we go through each one and make sure that we're covering every base of that emergency or event or incident or whatever we're dealing with.
I just want to commend you on that because I've been here since 21 when we came in. You dealt with COVID and all that. That was a learning curve for you guys and very difficult, and y'all navigated that really well, and I appreciate all those efforts. And you've grown since then with even more now in our state. I also got to give, commend them on their efforts because they're so organized. Nothing's ever perfect, but
Right.
and
yeah.
that's how we're modeling because they kind of send you what model to follow. And
Correct. They do give us guidance, and I do try to follow what they do. And the reason I do that is so that way we can align. When a disaster happens, it's going to start local and it's going to end local. And what I mean by that is the local disaster is going to start locally, and then it's going to build. If it becomes outside of our capabilities on the local level, we call in the state, and the state comes in to help. And then if the state it falls out of their capabilities, then we call in the federal government, and the federal government comes in to help. And then it gets to a point where everybody's involved in the emergency, and then it'll start to scale back, and the federal government will leave, then the state will leave, and then it gets turned back into the hands of the locals, right? So it starts local and ends local, and in order to make sure that there's a smooth transition or smooth working with the team, I wanted to make sure that we were doing the same thing they were doing. So,
Right.
and we've done that. We've worked really hard. It's been, and we're still improving. We're not there yet. We're still making it better, but. We have to align ourselves with what they're doing, and transitioning our model to convert to what their model was a challenge. It's been a challenge, and we're getting there, and we're really close.
And locally with our residents, one thing that we do ask, whether they're in the county or within our city, well, we deal mainly with the city,
Right.
and then we work with, of course, our county judge.
correct.
That is very important because it affects all of us. But one thing that's very important, since we're talking about local, is that any disaster, if we do have, heaven forbid, a disaster, we ask that everyone report damages because it helps us with our thresholds.
It does two things. It helps us with our thresholds, and that's really important because in order for us to receive any kind of federal or state help, we do have to. There's some financial thresholds that we have. There's some numbers that we have to hit before any of that stuff will kick in. But the more important thing is we want to know if there's any damage as well. So it does let us know because we can't be in every spot at the same time, right? And so sometimes we may not know that there was a house that had a roof blown off or a tree that fell down. It maybe it didn't cause an issue enough for us to be notified, and so we want to know anything that's happening. It doesn't necessarily mean that we need to respond out there or we need to step in and do something, but we just need to know how bad was and if bad even happened, right?
And that's ISTAT?
Yes, it is called the ISTAT. It's the Individual Assistance, and we share that periodically, especially when there's a storm that'll come through. We'll share that a little QR code or a link
It's
on our
in our-
Facebook
okay.
page. Yeah,
Okay.
and we'll. And I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I don't know if it's on our website. But if it isn't, I'm sure our IT department can help make that happen. So they're standing over there looking like, we'll make it happen.
No, but that's important. I just thought to mention because that's something that we do say if we go through, heaven forbid, an incident like that, that it's so important to report any kind of damages or anything through that system.
Right, reporting it through the proper channel, right? I know you can log on to Facebook after a storm and you can see all kinds of stuff that's happening all over the place. Man, I hope they report that in because we need to capture that data and capture that actually happened and make sure that we report that up to the state so the state knows that we have
It also
needs.
helps us to understand, okay, there may be something that we need to focus on when it comes to flood mitigation or whatever that is. It helps us. That
Well,
data helps us.
Great example, this last DOC meeting that we had right before these storms, we had an EOC meeting, and as the mayor said, I went through every function to make sure that we were covering everything. All our directors are in those meetings, our city manager, our mayor, and we go through and we identify areas. And so if we know of an area that, hey, the last time that it rained 4 inches, this street had some issues. We need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. We can mitigate those issues before it happens and make sure that it's not going to happen again. Sometimes it's an easy fix. Sometimes it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
Down south, south on what is it, Violeta,
Hughes, all
far,
those
the
areas.
very, Hughes Street, all that neighborhood, we know that there's problems there. We know that because of the data that we've captured over the years. And, we've got a whole bunch of mitigation funds that are being used to fix the streets, the water, the drainage.
$6.9 million.
Yeah, $6.9 million is being funneled into that neighborhood to be able to fix the drainage issues and the flooding and the water line issues. And and I don't know all the details on it. That's a little bit more on the city manager and the public works director side. But I do know that part of that was capturing some of that data so that we know what areas of town need to be addressed, and it's important for future grant opportunities.
For our grant,
Correct.
for our grant opportunities, exactly. So that is very important, just to let us know. Call it in, use that QR code or that
QR
link.
code or the link, yeah.
Okay, and so I know that we've come a long ways. We collaborated also with some of the local, our Jim Wells County, some of our other cities for their hazmat plan. You worked really hard on that, along with, everyone from the community participated.
That is correct, Mayor, and I'm really, really happy about that. We are at the final stage of adopting our hazard mitigation plan. And what that hazard mitigation plan does is it takes our city, and in this case, it took the city and the county, because we did a joint plan between the city and the county. What we did is we held our public hearings and public meetings and got input from the community, and we looked at historical data. We looked at what our current situations were, and we determined what the different hazards that are exist
More
for
than
our
likely,
community.
yeah.
And we rated them to see which ones were more likely to happen, which ones were less likely to happen. And so we take those, once you identify those hazards in that plan, you identify ways to mitigate those hazards. So we have a plan on how we're going to fix a problem that we've identified is a problem for our community. And again, that problem wasn't just something that I came up with or the mayor came up with. It was a collaborative effort between all of our participants, and we had multiple participants from the hospital, from the college.
Yes.
We had local business owners and just general residents that came in and helped develop this plan. So I'm very, very happy that we're going to have this plan. Right now, it's on FEMA's desk, waiting for the director of FEMA or whoever does that to give its
Sign off.
final approval. But the council has already reviewed it and approved it. The commissioner's court has already reviewed it and approved it. And we also included the water authority as well, so it covers their assets as well. So their board has already approved it.
And this will help us also when we do apply for our grants, because it shows that we are trying to be proactive. We have a plan in place, and is that correct?
That is correct. What that does is this plan has to be in place, and when funding comes available, there's mitigation funds available. If we meet a threshold or for whatever reason, there's funding available, the government wants to know, hey, we have money available, but what are you going to use it on? Do you have a plan on what you're going to use it on? And that's what this plan is. We can easily present this plan and say, okay, this is the top of our priority list on our hazard mitigation plan, and we need to address it. And then they just match that funding up with it, and we're able to fix those things, like the project down on I forget what street it is, Violeta.
It's called
Hughes.
Virginia Street
Virginia
Project.
Street Project, there you go. I knew it had a name. But that Virginia Street Project is a perfect example of a mitigation plan.
That includes South Reynolds, all those feeder streets. So the other thing that I know that you've worked really hard and it's been ongoing is like what we said, that the basic plan that we have in place for emergency management.
Correct.
And, it's amazing because that includes everyone. That includes our nursing homes, that includes our school districts. I mean, it's a collaborative effort on everyone's behalf, and then, of course, within City Hall and county, so.
Right. So as the mayor mentioned earlier, I am the emergency management coordinator. She's the emergency management director because that is a responsibility that falls under the mayor's office. So when you become mayor, you automatically become the emergency management
Yes.
director. And she's able to appoint a coordinator to help make all those functions happen, all the responsibilities that come with being an emergency management director get funneled over to the emergency management coordinator to coordinate those. But that doesn't mean that I'm the guy that makes all the decisions and does everything. That means that I'm just the guy that makes sure that it's all falling into place and happening. And so sometimes if it's a water emergency, it's going to be the water director that's going to be running that incident. If it's a law enforcement type emergency, the police chief's probably going to be in charge of that. I'll be there to assist. I'll be there to support as well as the mayor. But we don't take over the scene and we don't run every incident. We just support every incident through the emergency management office. So, for instance, if it was a wildfire, and we've had those in the past, the fire department, now by default, I'm also the fire chief, so I would be in charge of that. But I'm not there because I'm the emergency management coordinator. I'm there because I'm the fire chief, and but I'll do my part as the emergency management coordinator to support it as well. So,
Well, and then you also communicate as emergency management coordinator to the directors, to everyone, and you have it categorized, okay, when are we going to have to level up or whatever it is, and you remain in close communication with those individuals.
that's correct. We have different levels. Our emergency operations center has different levels. We have a normal level, like right now we're at a normal level. Then we move up to level 3 where we're monitoring a situation, or we're just concerned or paying attention, something a little closer. Maybe it could be something as simple as tonight we've got the glow run. We know we have a lot of people congregating in one area. That increases the likelihood of something bad happening, right? And not to say that something would, but when you have a lot of people gathering in one location, there's potential for something to happen. So we monitored. We would move up to level 3. Doesn't mean that we're in a room. It's not like what you would see on TV. It's simply we're making phone calls. We're making sure we have plans in place. We're checking SIP systems. We're communicating with each other a little closer and saying, okay, we've got this going on. Hey, chief of police, are you okay on security? Hey, fire department, do we have what we need if something happened? Do we need to close your streets to protect the community? So, there's level 3. Then there's level 2. Level 2 is something's happening and we're responding to it. And level 1 is all hands are on deck and everybody's in here and we're managing an incident because something has happened and we're starting to need to document a little bit better and communicate with the state and the federal government.
Yeah, and it's amazing how everyone, like, one department affects the other, or so it's really important to communicate with each other, because even finance plays an important role in this, and you just don't think of those type of things. But there's a lot of things that go on the background that a lot of the citizens or the public don't know, and I think I'm just grateful and thankful that we've done a great job, all of us together, and you have put a really good plan together, and I appreciate that. So.
Well, thank you, Mayor. We have a really good team. Like you said, there's people that work behind the scenes that we don't even realize are doing that. They see, if it's a law enforcement, they may see the police chief and his staff, his command staff up there talking, but there's other things that have happened.
Our
dispatchers.
Oh my gosh.
Even our IT department. You can't forget about them. They're making sure that we're able to communicate. I can pick up the phone all day long, but the phone doesn't work. It's not going to happen, right? And so they're able to do things on their side. They have plans. They have emergency plans that they, if they know an emergency, they're part of that team. They know that they've got things they need to get done to make sure that we're able to be able to log into our Zoom meetings and our being able to put messages out if we need to put them out, and talk on the phone if we need to talk on the phone. So everybody plays a part in emergency management, and I'm really glad that we have a good team.
Electric provider, everyone, the water department, it's just everyone. Our public works play a big role too, and so.
And we work hard with even our private partners, places like H-E-B and Walmart and some of our nursing homes. We work really close with them.
And even some of the pump trucks or tankers, or I don't know,
The vacuum truck companies, sometimes we've needed to call people in for water, things like that. So we keep a real big team aspect on everything.
And some of the things too, like sitting in on this, some of the stuff that we prep when we have something that hasn't happened but has a potential, is like make sure the trucks are fueled, make sure this is done, the creeks, there's just so many working parts that go into it. So
it's like I said, it's really comforting to know we have a good team. Across the city, we've done things from during the cold snaps, we've had library staff that have stepped up to help.
Churches, organizations.
So it's nobody really gets. Everybody plays a part, and it's really nice. And we're close with the state. Here recently, just this couple. As a matter of fact, today the boat teams are leaving. They've got push a little bit further down south to McAllen. They're going to go
help
out there and
over
help.
there.
But
Yeah.
Texas Task Force 1 was in town for the last couple of days, 2 days for the rain event. We wanted to make sure that they were in town, not to take over, but to support our local fire department. If we got into a
Yeah.
situation where we needed a boat or we needed some more technical experts, they were here in town and ready to respond and ready to help with us.
I think that's amazing because that's something also you've been able to coordinate through communication, through those relationships. Mr.
Gary Barney?
He's been great.
Yes.
A great ass. Is it Brenda?
Brenda.
Brenda.
Yes, Brenda Elizondo. She's our
keeps in touch with
our
us.
local region chief.
And then we have even more local.
Yes,
So-
I know you guys just had him on here, but
Yes.
a couple of sessions ago. I don't remember. I haven't
Yes.
counted, but I know he was just on here, and you guys got to meet Cheto, and he's a local.
I always say Cheto, but what's the?
Aniceto Perez.
Yes.
But so he's retired fire police chief, and we've been in our community for a long time, and the state recognized that and brought him on to help coordinate things for the state. So he's our local contact for the Texas Division of Emergency Management. Then from there we have Ms. Brenda. She's over in the Corpus office. She's over our District 20 is our disaster district center. So she's our disaster district chair, and so she. Cheto, relays information to her, and then from there it goes up to Gary Barney, who's the regional chief. He's over a bunch of different districts, so 2021, and then we've got Chief Pena down. Tony Pena is down in the valley. He's over Gary, and then once you get past Chief Pena, then you go up to Chief Kidd. Nim Kidd is the director of the entire state
Chief
board.
Nim Kidd is awesome. He wants to make sure all of the mayors and EMCs have his personal phone number.
And he answers it.
Yeah, it's amazing, and he's the one that communicates to our governor too,
Yes.
and lets him know what's going on throughout our region, throughout the area. So
Yes,
it's
for
a-
emergencies and
yeah.
disasters, he's our direct line to the governor, and
Yeah.
he literally sits next to the governor when there's a disaster happening.
Yeah.
So,
I've been impressed with that, the way it all works. I feel very confident in the state of Texas, how we have it organized and how they've grown and implemented their plans and the support systems.
Right.
And that's with Cheto being here. That's one of the newer
programs that he's implemented,
Yeah.
yes. And so, yeah, it's that department is definitely evolving and getting better and better. Well, one of the things that I'll share, I was just down there in a meeting with all the TDEM departments and other emergency managers, and there's a program called Incident Support Task Force, and so I participate in that. And I've been to the Panhandle fires. I've been to Hurricane Beryl when Hurricane Beryl hit, and we weren't affected by it. So I went up there to go help the communities that were affected by it as an asset, a part of the state's response team. But one of the things that Nim Kidd has done is he's created that program, and that program has not just responded in the state, but the panel that I was on yesterday, myself and two other task force members, we've gone North Carolina, California, Hawaii, all different places to help those communities recover from their disasters that they're having.
incidents,
And so
yes.
we participate in that. I participate in it. We've done a great job of networking and working with them and bringing back some of those practices that they do. So some of the things that you're seeing me do, Mayor,
because we
in my
may
EOC.
not see them all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, some of the things that you're
Yeah.
seeing me do are stuff that I brought back from other EOCs that I've worked in, that I've helped with their disasters. If I see them doing something really good, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that
We
back home,
learn
and we're
from-
going to push
yes.
that in, put that in our EOC.
Yeah.
And so it's just a great way to help other Texans and help other Americans, because we're all over the state, all over
Right.
the country now.
Okay.
But it's also a great way to learn and bring that back so we make our community stronger and better.
There was also, in talking about local, there was a program that was implemented maybe a year or more than a year ago, trying to get citizens to participate, train them. What was that?
That's our Community Emergency Response Team.
Okay.
CERT
So,
program.
The CERT. I couldn't think of the acronym. I'm going to think of CERTs now, like the.
Yeah, there you go.
But that program, I mean, how's that coming along? How's
It's
that?
coming along. It took we took a little break from it. We were waiting on some funding to come in to be able to purchase some of the equipment.
Okay.
We did get that funding. I think
Oh,
you were
awesome.
with me whenever we were asking for that stuff. So at the emergency management conference last year, and so that stuff has come in. So we do have the equipment. We're working on a plan to get some of those start hosting more of those trainings. We do want to get more citizens involved because there's things that citizen can do
Yeah.
that can help us, respond to a disaster and recover from a disaster. And it can be in any type of disaster, really. That program doesn't specifically train you for law enforcement or fire or medical or anything. It's just a little bit of each that gets you a taste of it all, so that way you can contribute and help with any type of
So
disaster.
what are some of the things that we train our citizens in that program that they could possibly learn during an emergency or?
So we're going to learn everything from doing searches. So if we needed to search a neighborhood, we needed to do a disaster assessment. We wanted to maybe something straight line wind or tornado went through a neighborhood, and we need to search that neighborhood to see how bad the disaster is and whether or not we need to get a paramedic on that person. They may be able to do that for us. Check for gas leaks, turn off gas, things like that. We could respond, and it's a force multiplier for our first responders. So we don't have, when a disaster happens, we're gonna be stretched really thin on our law
Right.
enforcement side and our fire side, and so
So it's nice to have.
yeah,
If
we can prioritize and better put. Better send our
Be
police
strategic.
officers, strategically place our paramedics, and we don't need the paramedic sending them.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that, guys. Speaking of medical.
Everything
response.
okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
The EMS is getting sent somewhere.
So, if a citizen listening out there would like to be part of this program, what's the process for them to be able to
So
participate?
I would follow our emergency management page and our fire department, police department pages. That's where you'll see the notifications when those courses are going to be.
Okay.
We're working we're getting a little bit more creative. We held one course, but it was all at the same time. So we recognize that we need to kind of be a little bit more flexible with our schedule. So what we're going to do is, we're currently working on a plan to make this happen. What we're going to do is we want to stretch it out over a couple weeks, and so you don't have to dedicate as much time all at the same time. You can dedicate just a little bit of time a week and come and get through this course and through this training.
What does that look like for the citizen? Like, what kind of time frame or hours are needed for the certification or
So
whatever that is? I'm sorry.
that's what we're still trying to work out. We're
Okay.
trying to make sure that we can make it. We don't burden the citizen with having to dedicate too much time at the same time to come in. We still got to get through all the modules that are involved in this program because we want to make sure that you're prepared, for whatever missions that we send you guys on. But how that looks, we're still working through that,
Okay.
and I'm trying to make it to where
We're
it's
still
convenient.
trying to get that ironed out, and it's in its preliminary phase right now. And it
Right.
takes time to develop these things, but it's a good program, so hopefully we'll have that soon and up and running.
Yes, I'm excited about that program. I really want to make that a very, very successful program. It's been successful in other cities. In other cities, they use the CERT program to help with disasters, but they also use it to help manage events. When you have a major event happening and you need help, at that event, they can help. With the emergency response side of the events and making sure people are safe.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of programs that can
And-
help.
That's something that I know a lot of our citizens may not know, but there's so many programs out there. There's so many things that support systems. I know the 211 also is part of our emergency management. I'm sorry. One of the steps that we advise people, if you can't get through, that's another resource.
Right, 211 is a great resource to call to get information from, and if you don't know if something's happening in your area, 211 you can call, and we communicate with Janice Hughes. She's the administrator of that for our area. She keeps in contact with me, and I know she's contacted you before, Mayor, and she stays on top of what's happening in our communities and makes sure that that's available for our 211 operators to be able to respond and give answers.
So if someone dials 211, what will happen?
There's an operator's going to answer the phone, and you're going to ask them what their question. They're going to ask you what
What your
you
need
need,
is.
and they have They're like
Resources.
the keepers of all the resources, so they'll know where to send you, who to call, what to get you the information that you need.
You know, I did participate at one of the events they held, and it's just amazing the resources that Jim Wells County, City of Alice has available to our citizens. And I don't think we always know some of those resources. There's so much out there, and some of it is not very expensive, some is free. So it's nice to kind of maybe visit that website and kind of see what's all out there. But we kind of did a broad spectrum of emergency management.
We did, but it's a great time. We've got a lot of emergencies happening. We've got, the rains that came in. We've had,
Fires.
Weeks before that, we were dealing with wildfires. And so we've got hurricane, and it's never too early to start preparing for hurricane season. Hurricane season starts June 1st.
Yeah.
So we're only, 2 months away from that.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to start getting your ready
trees.
kits. Yeah, start trimming your trees, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's never too early to start preparing for hurricane season. And then, of course, we have our annual hurricane tabletop exercise coming up in mid-May, where we will be going over to Robstown. We'll be doing some training with myself, the mayor, some of our city staff goes to that as well. We'll be coordinating and working with our neighboring emergency management teams, and it's a great organization to be a part of, and it prepares us, refreshes us, and gets us ready for the next hurricane season.
And we get to all share information, like something that we did that worked for someone else, and then, like you said, take some of those
Yep.
ideas that worked and are good ideas that could be implemented.
Yep.
So it helps. So thank you so much for sharing all that information and informing our citizens. Be careful out there. I don't know, we don't know what the weather, but
So we will have some more small rain bands. It won't be as severe as what the last 24 hours was on rain, but you may still see a scattered shower coming through, is what our weather people are telling us.
And the emergency management is it Facebook? Can you share that so that everyone knows where to kind of look for some of the updates?
Yeah, well, so City of Alice Emergency Management, we have our own Facebook page, and so we do share a little bit of information on that. That's a great way to, if you follow that page on Facebook, you'll be informed.
You'll get updates, flyers, updates on what the current weather is doing.
Right, and we work really closely with the National Weather Service over in Corpus Christi. As a matter of fact, you were in the last meeting where we had one of their meteorologists attend our meeting and give us we're talking directly with the meteorologists that are putting out all those alerts and things that come out over your phones, and when your phone starts going off and there's a flash flood, the people that are entering that information in are the people that we're talking to, and that's the person that was in our EOC meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
It's all added up. So we bring them directly into our meetings to talk to directly from them, so we can get the most accurate and current information, so we can make our decisions. And we share that information with our other partners. We had the county EMC in that meeting as well. We had our superintendent of schools in that meeting as well, because they have decisions, and they're leaning on us to get the information to them, so that way they can make their decisions. So we just include everybody in on that meeting and make sure that we can make those decisions.
Again, it's the City of Alice Emergency Management Facebook page.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for always being available to.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes I call you at the last minute. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I enjoy coming out, and like I said, I really like to get the information out to the public, and it's where it needs to be. So I'm always available to do this.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much, and thank you to all our staff and everyone that does participate, and you keeping it coordinated. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Y'all have a happy Easter. If I don't think I'll have an airing before that. So happy Easter. Y'all enjoy yourselves and stay safe out there, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.